Today, for a Friday Farm Report, we got some big news to discuss. Earlier on this week, both Brett Baty and Jose Butto were promoted to Triple-A. How soon could we see the Mets' number 2 prospect in Baty at the big league level? Is Jose Butto the best pitching prospect in this farm system? We'll discuss that on today's show, and also a preview of the Mets' upcoming series against the Philadelphia Phillies.
You are Locked On Mets, your daily New York Mets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all you amazing Mets fans. You're watching Locked On Mets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Ryan Finkelstein. You want to find any of my work, follow me on Twitter, @FinkelsteinRyan. You can also find some of my writing at justbaseball.com, where I work as the managing editor. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So Brett Baty is the number 2 prospect in the Mets farm system. This guy has the chance to be the starting third baseman for the next decade. He is really talented. They drafted him in the first round out of high school back in 2019, 12th overall pick, and he has just gotten better and better. When he was drafted, there was a lot of concern about, could he be a third baseman at the big league level? Would he be a first baseman DH type? And he has gotten more athletic. He's improved his footwork. He's gotten better at the position where now people believe he'll either stick at third or even potentially be a plus glove in a corner in the outfield. His athleticism is shown through the further and further he's advanced, and he just put together an amazing season in Double-A. Last year, he did finish the season in Double-A as well, spent 40 games at that level, hit 272, 364 on base, 424 slugging. So he hung in the league well, but now he just dominated the league. That's why he earned the promotion. Honestly, probably could have got promoted even sooner. You look at his season numbers: a 312 hitter, 406 on base, 554 slugging, 19 home runs. That's a big number right there for Brett Baty because he's always had power, but now he's tapping into it during the games a lot more. Last year you saw a really high ground ball rate and a guy that at times was more of a doubles hitter, a guy that hits gap to gap, which is his strength still. But there is enough power there that if he can launch a little bit, he'll hit more home runs. And 19 this season, that is a really positive development. 22 doubles, so 41 extra base hits. You look at where he ranked around the league, right? His average at 312, second best. You look at his home run total, 19, comes in at 7th. You go to RBIs, that's at 10th at 58. You listen to the advanced metrics, right? So we got WRC plus measuring hitters based on a league average of 100. That is Fangraphs' best stat to give us an idea of the offensive value of a player. Really does give you that all-encompassing look. You know what his WRC plus was in that league in Double-A? It's 158. It's the top mark in the league. According to that metric, he was the best hitter in that league in Double-A. Striking out at a 24.9% clip is a little bit high, but it's good enough when he's walking at an 11.7% clip. And if you're trading some strikeouts here for a little more power, you take that every time. Last year, you look at his strikeout rate in Double-A, it was 25.6. So he improved upon that slightly this year, ever so slightly, but still a little bit. And then you look at what he did in high last year is also at 25.4. So his numbers seem to be skewing that way. That is okay as long as he can tap into some more power and continue to draw a lot of walks and give you good at bats. You look at his splits. Okay, this is why the guy was promoted. You talk about the beginning of the season. Got off to a good start in April. Hit 297, 844 OPS. Had one of his home runs. May, only 2 home runs. Bad month, 206 average, 325 on base, 353 slugging, 678 OPS. June comes around. Hits 5 home runs, hits 326, 429 on base, 517 slugging, a 946 OPS. You go to July, hit 365, 435 on base, hit 8 bombs, 27 RBIs, OPS over 1,000 at 1,123. You get into August in 6 games, he was hitting 391, 517 on base, 812 slugging, and OPS over 1300. At that point, you realize that he's just no match for the pitching in that league, and he deserves a promotion. And now here he is at the Triple-A level. He's played 2 games so far. He's fared well in those. He's 2 for 7. He's drawn a walk, so his on-base percentage of 375, average of 286. Obviously, very early, but we will see how he progresses at that level. This is really exciting, though, to have Brett Baty and Francisco Alvarez both at AAA. You kind of forecast ahead to next season, and both of these guys have a chance to crack the opening day roster. Alvarez a little more so than Baty. I also think that Baty is vying for a position that the Mets have some coverage at. Obviously Eduardo Escobar's under contract next year. You still have Jeff McNeil and Louis Guillorme both factoring into the infield plans next season, with Lindor playing every day at shortstop. So there's options, right? There's options, whether it's Guillorme and Escobar again, whether the Mets are looking, and who knows, maybe they sign a free agent. I don't know if they would sign somebody at third base particularly, but maybe someone that has positional versatility that can play some third, play some left, and suddenly, you have more mouths to feed. I think what the Mets do this offseason will be very telling about how they envision Brett Baty's future here. If they do nothing to address their infield and they keep things status quo, which they realistically can because they have a decent plan B in Escobar and Guillorme already, if that all happens and they just kind of sit on it, maybe they re-sign a Brandon Nimmo and kind of roll this thing back next season. Obviously, we're getting ahead of ourselves talking about next season, but this is just in context of Brett Baty. You would have an understanding that they believe this guy could be the starting third baseman next year, because I don't believe they think Mark Vientos could be that starting third baseman defensively. Whereas Baty, I think the upside is there to be at least an average glove, if not a little bit above average, while giving you a really promising profile as a hitter. It's exciting to think about the prospect of those two guys in Alvarez and Baty being infused into this team next season. I think it's too early to dream on Brett Baty coming up this year. Personally, I think the fact that they took so long to promote him in AA says that they want to take their time with him, make sure that they really develop him properly. I think that's the right call, because when he comes up, he has maybe the highest floor of any of these prospects. I want to explain why a little bit more in the next segment. And we'll talk about Jose Butto, who was promoted at the same time as well to AAA. Could he be the best pitching prospect in the Mets farm system right now? I'll talk about that as well. But first, did you know that the key to sustainable weight loss is through your liver? That's because the liver is the body's metabolic furnace, responsible for flushing out harmful toxins and igniting your fat-burning metabolism. Thanks to modern diets, though, that are rich in unhealthy and processed food, most of us have overworked livers. Now it's easy to rejuvenate your liver health and reignite your metabolism thanks to the Liver Health Formula by Pure Health Research. The Liver Health Formula contains 8 liver-boosting super nutrients like turmeric, beet, and artichoke extract, all of which work together to wake up a sluggish liver and turn it into a toxin-flushing and fat-burning machine. No more bloated belly, no more uncomfortable digestion, no more feeling tired, being low on energy all the time, and the best of all, the Liver Health Formula makes it easier to maintain a healthy body weight long term. As a listener of this show, you could try the Liver Health Formula risk-free today and get a free bottle of CurbFit with your order. CurbFit is a safe and all-natural appetite suppressant, making it easy to say no to naughty foods, which also makes it the perfect complement to the Liver Health Formula. If you want to try them today, go to getliverhelp.com/MLB to learn more. Again, that's getliverhelp.com/MLB to try the Liver Health Formula completely risk-free and claim your free bottle of CurbFit with your order. So I said that Brett Baty has the highest floor of any of the Mets top prospects right now. And the reason that I say that is because of the type of hitter he is, the fact that he really can go to all fields. He seems to have a good approach at the plate when it comes to his discipline, the pitches that he actually does swing at, the ones that he tries to put the good swings on to drive out of the ballpark. But it's the fact that defensively, I think his ceiling at third base, or maybe just his floor at third base, is so much higher relative to the uncertainty of a catcher in Francisco Alvarez and Mark Vientos, who doesn't really have a position. Not to mention Ronnie Mauricio as a prospect in general, I'm just not very high on. So you look at all the top prospects in the Mets system, and right the way I look at it, it's Alvarez and Baty as obviously the best two. I think I'm starting to get more and more behind Alex Ramirez as the third best prospect of the bunch. And then it's Vientos and Mauricio for me. But of all five of those guys, I look at Brett Baty and I say, I just believe he's going to be a really good starting player in baseball. Now, Alvarez, you could say has the highest floor and the highest ceiling. I think his ceiling is astronomical just because he's a catcher prospect and could potentially turn into just a DH. Now, that's not what I believe his future is, but as he continues to grow, we still have to see it. We still have to see what it looks like at the big league level. And I can only get so much watching a couple of videos of him catching online. It's tough for me to know what he's going to be. Whereas Brett Baty, you can see some highlights and kind of understand how the footwork looks, how the arm will play. And I really do believe that he is just a prospect that is going to be the starting third baseman for the Mets as soon as next season. I honestly believe that. Now, we get to Jose Butto. He's had a really interesting year. He's made 20 appearances, 18 starts in Double-A, has an ERA at a flat 4 before getting the promotion. That's in 92 and a third innings pitched, has 108 strikeouts. So the strikeouts are pretty solid. The walks aren't too crazy if you're looking at Jose Butto. And the thing about it is he is the next pitcher on the Mets, 40-man roster that could conceivably grab a starter spot that I have a little bit of confidence in. He's 24 years old now. You'll look at the career. He started last season in High A, had some success, ends up in Double-A. Was actually better in Double-A last year than this year with a 3.12 ERA, but that was only in 8 starts. He's growing through the Mets farm system. I don't know if he's ever going to be this elite starting pitcher, but he could be a nice back end guy. And considering where the Mets are at with their farm system, with a lot of guys when it comes to their top arms that are in high A or lower right now, Jose Butto presents a really interesting prospect that could factor into the rotation at some point next season. If you're kind of forecasting out the way the Mets rotation looks in 2023, it's Max Scherzer for sure. Carlos Carrasco has that, the option that vests when he hits 170 innings. I think he does hit that this year, and I think he'll be back. You got McGill and Peterson, so that's 4. You got Bassett, Walker, DeGrom, all set to be free agents. Joey Lucchesi should be fully healed from Tommy John surgery by then. He might be back this season even. So you technically have 5 starters right now that I call big league caliber ready to go. You have McGill, Peterson, and Lucchesi that are, not quite the top tier guys you'd want. So I think the Mets either re-sign a Jacob deGrom as well, maybe a Chris Bassett. We'll see how they plan out their offseason. But we saw this year the Mets really rolled out 8 deep. So if you're currently at 5, Butto could be a 6th. Now you got to go add 2 starters in the offseason. That's kind of how you have to think of this. Is he good enough that the Mets will view him as legitimate starter depth as they head into the 2022 or the 2023 season? And if so, that is a huge win for this organization when it comes to their farm system. But all of that talk about prospects is great. It's a Friday farm report. The Mets didn't play. So we got to do it. And I love doing it. I love thinking about the future. But every time I've said 2023 on this show today, I've thought I don't want to look too far ahead because this current Mets team is that much fun. And I want to bring the focus right back on them in the final segment here. We got a big series this weekend to watch. Mets versus Phillies at Citi Field. You know the environment's going to be electric. The Phillies are on fire right now. So there are 2 teams that are surging, going head to head. And wouldn't it be fantastic if the Mets could just take all of the wind out of the Phillies' sails? We'll see if they can do that this weekend. Before we talk about it, though, whether you're ready to pop the question or if you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. There you can build the engagement ring of her dreams. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is one of a kind, so you can celebrate life special moments with fine jewelry from Blue Nile, as they have experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. Going on now, they have the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale, where you can save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress free and find your forever piece by going to BlueNile.com today. The New York Mets are the hottest team in this division, but the Phillies have not been far behind as of late. Right now, as I'm recording this, is the bottom of the eighth, and they're losing 3-0 to the Marlins. But you look at what they've done across this month so far. They were 7-1. In July, they were 15-10, 19-8 in June. So they've been really good, really since Joe Girardi got fired. And you look at the lineup currently, they got a lot of guys hot. Rhys Hoskins, 5 home runs, 318 average, 400 on base. OPS over 1,000. JT Realmuto, 4 bombs, 351 hitter, 400 on base, OPS over 1,200. Derek Hall hitting 310, 375 on base, OPS over 1,100. Schwarber hitting 298, 377 on base, 951 OPS, 3 home runs over the last 15 days, 34 on the year to lead the National League. Alec Boehm swinging it well. Nick Castellanos is swinging it well. They got a lot of guys that are doing very well for them. They added Brandon March at the deadline to give them some defense in center field. I'm sure that's paying dividends already. It's a good team right now. I'm not going to say they can compete with the Mets. I mean, for the season, Mets have won 9 of the 12 meetings, but they are looking much better right now. They're playing better baseball than the Braves, so the Braves did just sweep a series against the Red Sox in Boston, a 2-game set. But currently, they're 3 games back of the Braves. If they do end up losing today, that makes it 3.5. They'll be 10.5 behind the Mets if they lose that game. So obviously, the division is far out of reach for them, but you still want to put your foot down on their throat and really close out this season strong. You already have them on the ropes when it comes to the season series. You win one more game, you got it. This is a good opportunity for the Mets to really finish things out strong, especially at home. They still have another series in Philly, if I'm not mistaken, a 4-game set where they'll play a doubleheader. So this is a series the Mets want to do well in. You look at the pitching probables, you got Ranger Suarez versus Max Scherzer in game 1. Scherzer, got to feel good about that. Suarez is a 3.68 ERA, 85 strikeouts this year. Scherzer has a 1.98 ERA, 120 when it comes to his strikeouts. If you might have heard, as I said, Scherzer there, I almost uttered Jacob deGrom's name. That's because I'm so excited to see him pitch again. He's going against Aaron Nola. Nola's having a great year, 3.17 ERA. DeGrom's DeGrom, though. So first 2 games, the Mets have an edge when it comes to the pitching matchup. Game 3, that edge shifts to the Phillies. So if they get one of those 2 games, you're going to have to go against Zach Wheeler in a rubber match. I'm certain that that is not something the Mets would like to do. They will be, I'm sure, throwing Chris Bassett out there. Obviously, a nice wrinkle. Bassett could have a great game against the Phillies for sure. The Mets can beat up on any pitcher. We've seen them get to Sandy Alcantara this year. They can get to a Zach Wheeler. They can get to an Aaron Nola. But it's going to be 3 great pitching matchups, 2 really good teams. I can't wait to see what the atmosphere is like and see this Mets team hopefully keep rolling. You know, they've won, 6 in a row now? Was it 15 out of their last 17? Keep building on this. They can really capitalize on this stretch. We've already talked about it, but you're looking at the really last tough road of the season. You got these 3 against Philly. You go to Atlanta for 4. Then you go to Philly for that 4-game set with the doubleheader mixed in. So that's really where this division's won. If the Mets can go out and dominate the next 3 series, they win this division, and all attention goes out west to look at the Dodgers, because then it's all right. Can the Mets have the best record in the National League and secure some home field advantage? Hell, you could be even looking at, could the Mets have the best record in baseball and secure home field advantage all the way through the World Series? That's actually something that a team this good has to think about. But first, they got to get through this stretch. 3 series against their 2 main division rivals, and then a Subway Series against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. You clear that. You have a 4-game set against the Rockies. You play the Dodgers. Once you get through that Dodgers series and really get into your September schedule, I mean, the Mets can cruise playing against the Nationals, the Pirates, the Marlins, the Cubs, the Pirates. It gets easy. The Athletics. This is where they have to play really well against good teams. To do that, they're going to win this division, and then they can set their sights even higher. But that's going to be all for today's episode of Locked On Mets this week on Locked On Mets. As always, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Finkelstein Ryan. Follow the show at Locked On Mets. Thank you for making Locked On Mets your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB, hosted by Paul Francis Sullivan. Locked On MLB is where you want to go to stay up to date with everything going on in Major League Baseball. You follow Locked On MLB wherever you get podcasts.